Oh, hello, friend. Come, join us by the fire. The story's about to begin.
Welcome back, everyone, to Fireside Dice. I am your, I would say, humble dungeon master, but I don't think the players here would agree with me on that. And we are coming back to Innistrad. Now, before we get into the session, I want to have us do a quick recap, and I would love to have us spell out who we are, what our characters are, and how much HP are you at now that we have leveled up to level 6? So, let's go ahead and start off with the basically father of the group. Bart, go ahead.
All right, I am Skylar. I'm playing Bartholomew Avenant. He is a level 6 bard, and I believe I have, 51 hit points after our level up.
It's a lot of hit points.
Question.
Yeah,
I was going to
so
say,
much.
okay, for a bard, what's your hit dice? Is it a D6 or a D8?
I'm pretty sure it's a D8.
Okay, I feel less ashamed.
No, I still feel bad.
I was ashamed of myself.
Oh no.
I guess I'll go next then. I've started talking. Hi, I'm Emma. I play Leven. She is a level 6 Way of Shadow monk, and we're sitting at a whopping 48 hit points.
That's not too far behind me.
No, I just feel like I still might have gone wrong somewhere, somehow. But you know what? Who
Let's
cares?
go for our other D8 mainer. Suri, why don't you go next?
Yeah, I'm Riley. I'm playing Suri. She's a level 6 warlock, and she has 53 hit points.
Bafuur.
I am Josh, playing Bafuur Draperjaw. He is a level 6 fighter cleric. He is currently, surprisingly, he's supposed to be the tank of the group. He's at 45 hit points, so he's at the lowest hit point count of our group.
What? No.
So there's that.
That sucks.
Yep.
What's your AC, though?
Only 16.
Really?
Because I'm not wearing a shield. If I put my shield on, it's like, I think it goes up to 18. But
Okay.
if I use the shield, then I can't two-hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's armor damage.
I'm starting to see why that hag fight did such a number on Bafuur.
It'll do, yeah. If I use my shield and one of my axes, it's fine. I can still swing D8s and cast spells and do all that stuff, but I can't use my great axe, which is a D12, which is kind of a huge hitting thing.
What's your constitution mod?
+1. That's why.
That's probably another factor into this.
hey, hold on, but I'm just saying, no one can ever accuse me of cheating on these numbers because of how bad they were. I don't know if you guys ever knew how bad they were, but let me just read off Balfour's stats just real quick.
Please,
His strength is an 18, which is that's
Makes sense.
standard. It makes sense. His dex is a 14, and that's the next highest stat that there is in the entire stat block.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Constitution is a 13, intelligence is an 11, wisdom is a 13, and charisma is an 8. -1. So, yeah, Bafuur gets by with hitting stuff.
So, we have randomly determined that, Riley, you're going to go ahead and give the backstory as to where we're at this point.
Yeah. Last time on Fireside Dice, our party found themselves fighting hags inside of an old accursed mill. Leven and Bart witnessed Suri summon a shadow of her patron during the fight, causing major suspicion between them. Afterwards, the party rescued Tiny Tim, and Bart followed in Balfour's footsteps from episode 2 and set fire to the whole mill. The party then set up camp. While Bart was keeping watch, he was visited and harassed by Streffen Mauer. During the night, Bart also had a long conversation about how Suri's power comes from a dangerous and ultimately evil source, similar to what his daughter was dealing with. On the brighter side of things, Bafuur reunited with Nutty the Squirrel and asked him to watch over the party during the night. And that's pretty much where we find ourselves.
Pretty sure Riley needs to do the recap every episode now.
Okay, so yes, camp has been broken by this point, and the rest of the travel towards the next town is pretty uneventful. Now, Suri, you have been through this neck of the woods before. This is the route you came back in reverse with Erasmus, the vampire from Ravnica. And as you come up closer towards the town, you seem to recall the Bitterheart Annabelle when she was with you, saying, "Yes, we don't go into town. They do not care for witches. They are more superstitious than most."
Okay, so it's morning time and we're all prepping for this, right?
Yep, you're just coming out of the forest area. You can see the town up ahead of you. It's the first picture in the maps and character art.
Oh, okay.
For those interested, the card for this is Fortified Village from Shadows over Innistrad, if I remember correctly.
So Suri, as we're approaching, Suri will take a look at the rest of the party, but she'll keep an eye on Leven and say, the people of this town, they'll recognize Bafuur and Bartholomew and me, but I don't know how they'll react to someone of your nature.
What do you mean by that?
The merfolk in Innistrad are a lot more vicious. They're more like beasts. They're not like you at all.
Generally, people in Innistrad are very suspicious of any non-human anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's more than just suspicious, it's basically kill on sight.
To be honest, I hadn't thought about that, but that is a really good point, Suri. We need a way to hide your true nature, Leven, if we're going to make it through this town.
What do you propose then?
That is a very good question. Suddenly wishing I had disguise self.
Doesn't somebody have invisibility?
Yes, I could make her invisible, but it would only last for an hour, and I only have the ability to do it twice.
And I don't think it's a good idea for you to be using any magic once we enter that town.
I agree.
So the two options that I see is we do the invisibility once here and hope that we can get everything done in that hour time frame, which I'm skeptical we will, or we could separate. Me and Bafuur can go into town, return Tiny Tim, and stop by the local church to get some information, while the two of you hang out here outside town limits.
That doesn't seem like a terrible idea.
Do I remember correctly that there's a branch of the Bitterhearts that's not too far?
Yes, the group that Annabelle is originally with, they are off to the south and west of the town. You guys are coming in from the eastern side.
So Leven and Suri, you two could go meet with them, potentially ask them any questions, because since they travel, they might have some information about where this temple might be, while me and Bafuur go into town and ask the church if they know where it is. Might increase our chances of being able to get enough information to figure it out.
We could do that.
That sounds good.
Yes, and the Bitterhearts would take a lot more kindly to a merfolk that's not from Innistrad.
Their reception of me at the other camp we visited was not terrible, so I wouldn't be uncomfortable going there.
All right, I think that sounds like a plan.
B team.
Woo!
Bafuur and Bart. Back together on a whirlwind adventure.
To a church. Uh-oh.
Again.
This is becoming
What
a
is up
habit of
with
ours.
you guys in the churches?
If I remember correctly, Tiny Tim he knows the address of his aunt's house, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you remember what his aunt's name is?
Miss Fiona Watcher. So I think
Yep.
we should go there first.
Okay.
And I'm walking
So-
him. Bartholomew's holding his hand, keeping him close, and
Tim, he is a little boy. Like, he has been walking and you've been holding him at points. It's been a trip. And as you get into town, Tim, he's been talking with you.
mm-hmm.
And it's at this point that he starts musing about Mama didn't like my Aunt Watcher.
Why is that?
She said that Aunt Watcher was mean, worked with a fiend.
Okay. Tim, how about you come with us to the church?
Okay,
You want to go to the church?
yeah.
Cool. Let's go to the church. I don't think your aunt is probably the best place to go. So we're going to take him with us to the church.
Loved that subtle hinting.
Yeah, that's.
Let me just hit you in the face with a 2x4.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with a fiend, but it might be a little bit different.
The question then becomes, is it Streffen the Fiend, or is it like a literal devil?
Yeah. Either way, we don't need another problem.
No.
So, going to the Church of St. Andrel, it's another one of these just old country, centuries old. Like, this thing has been here since the dawn of time. It will continue to be here. Little church house. And as you knock on the door, someone comes up to it, opens up the door, and I should also state that in traveling through town, you did go through the square to get to the church.
Okay.
And you could see in the main courtyard a farmyard of guillotines and stockades. And in at least one of them, you could see someone thrashing.
In the stockade, they're thrashing?
Yes.
Oh my.
And Tim, at this point, he does not like the central square. And so you kind of hurry on your way.
I'm with him.
But you see a couple of Abyssinian priests, holy symbols held, preaching the good word. And going on to the Church of St. Andrel, you can see in the churchyard in the front, there's a variety of tents.
Okay.
And your guess is that this is where the Inquisition has been set up.
Okay. Really glad our companions didn't come in here with us.
Yeah, that would have ended.
That would have been
really
bad.
badly.
So going through the camp, you get to the front doors of the church, take a couple of knocks, and Father Lucian Petrovich comes out. And he looks at you and he's, hi, how can I help you?
Hello, my name is Bartholomew. This is my companion Bafuur, and this here is Tim. There's two reasons I'm here, but to start, do you happen to have a system in place for kids who can't go home?
And he gets down on one knee, looks at Tim. Hello there, and initiates a very open conversation with Tim. And whatever we have, we're willing to share with you. And Tim goes up, gives him a big ol' hug. And you can tell that this is probably the right call.
Does he send Tim off with another priest, or?
There's actually a young altar boy, a little bit older than Tim, probably mid-teens.
Okay.
Who comes up and takes Tim back with him.
Once Tim is gone, I'm going to explain. So that poor boy, his parents fell under the influence of a hag's spell. They basically sold him to the hags for some treats, and we rescued him from the hags. I was originally going to take him to his aunt, but then he informed me that his mother was suspicious that the aunt is somehow involved with a fiend of some kind. So I figured this was the best place to bring him.
We will absolutely take care of him. I am doing everything that I can to appease and keep these Gavany Inquisitors at bay. It's a trying time. I'm doing everything that I can, though, and Avison, grant me strength.
And then there was one other reason. We were originally coming to visit this church, and Bart will kind of look over his shoulder at the area, like over the walls of the city, kind of out and about, and he's going to turn back to Father Lucy and be like, is it all right if we step inside to discuss something?
Do we need to go to my office?
Anywhere inside the church. I have a feeling the person I'm afraid of won't have access to us in there.
I'm not certain that I can guarantee the church's safety. One of our holiest relics, the bones of St. Andrel, were recently stolen.
Well, being inside gives me a lot more peace of mind than being outside on the doorstep.
At the very least, we can do that. Okay.
What's Bafuur thinking as we've seen everything in this town? And we're curious what he's been up to.
Balfour's been experiencing kind of a range of emotions since they walked into the town. I mean, he was a town guard, so I mean, they had stockades and stuff like that, and there was obviously the occasional capital punishment with a guillotine, and he's seen his fair share of death and fighting and all that, so that doesn't really affect him too much. I think seeing Tiny Tim, though, have to be not pawned off, but just not being able to go back to a family member and having to go into whatever this makeshift foster care system is now in this town. It's, I don't know. I think it kind of hit him a little hard, hurt his heart a little bit that he thought they were going to be able to do something good for this boy and bring him to his family, and all they've been able to do is bring him to people who are not even good at what they're doing. Apparently, he may have wondered that last thought out loud. That's okay.
Bartholomew definitely picks up on at least the range of emotions, maybe not the cause of them, and he'll note that for later.
Balfour's quiet but observant, sad eyes.
So, Father Lucian takes you in, and this is a little bit of a larger chapel, but you can tell that it has seen better days. The lower area, it's not a full-blown cathedral, mind you, but a humble 2-story dwelling. And your guess is that this lower level is mostly like service areas, altar rooms, that sort of thing. And the upper area would be more for like more specific rites and housing the staff of the church. So Father Lucian takes you upstairs, and he is like, would you like to go to my office or into the room where we kept the bones?
Whichever is you're most comfortable with. I really just wanted to be inside.
Let's go to my office then.
Okay.
And he takes you in. It's a not absolutely Spartan, but pretty sparse room.
Can Balfour try something?
Yes.
So I don't know if this is possible, and I don't even know if it's really going to be effective at all. But Bart's comment about wanting to be inside has gotten Balfour a little paranoid about being listened into. And he knows that Streffen has some sort of superb hearing, doesn't really know the full extent of it. Now, the spell Thaumaturgy, how high-pitched can I go with that? Like, if someone with superhuman hearing was listening in from a really good distance, and I just burst their eardrums with a loud, shrieking pierce that no one else around could hear, how would that work?
Are you talking like a dog whistle sort of effect?
Yeah, like if I just every, 10 seconds or so, because it's a cantrip, if I just, cast it behind my back and just caused a dog whistle really, really loud to go off. No one else would hear it around, but just in case anyone was listening, then, might lose their hearing for a little bit at the best.
So let's go to the wording of thaumaturgy there, because this is a really interesting thing you might be able to do.
That's really clever. I hope it works.
You manifest a minor wonder, a sign of supernatural power within range. You create one of the following magical effects within range. Your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute. You cause flames to flicker, brighten, dim, or change color for a minute. Harmless tremors on the ground for a minute. An instantaneous sound that originates from a point of your choice within range, such as a rumble of thunder, the cry of a raven, or ominous whispers. You instantly cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut, or you alter the appearance of your eyes for a minute.
So not necessarily high-pitched.
There was a good range of pitches in the examples, though.
Mm-hmm. Low rumble of thunder, cry of a raven, or ominous whispers.
Even if it didn't do any damage.
So is it just limited to those sounds, or are those just examples of what
Those
you can
are listed
do?
examples, it seems.
Yeah, if you were trying to block the sound, a super loud crow might do it.
That's very true. And honestly, that's probably more on level with what Balfour would be thinking, because he wouldn't be really thinking dog whistle. That's a little more Josh than Bafuur, but
Unless he worked with the canine unit on Kaladesh at one point.
It's entirely possible that would have been a thing.
it's entirely possible. Although I may just also call in every werewolf in the area with a dog whistle, so we may want to hold back on that.
So that's the question. What do you want to do with your thaumaturgy? Because I don't think it will cause damage, but you could probably pull off doing a dog whistle.
Well, let's go ahead and try it. I mean, probably can't hurt. Knock on wood.
So as you go in, you start considering your past working on Kaladesh, and it's something that's been on your mind throughout travel in town. And one of the different patrols that you worked with was from a group of elves that they were less metalsmiths and worked more with like natural things, and they had a specific little whistle that you didn't hear anything, but they were able to cause irritation for animals. So I want you to roll let's make this a wisdom check to see if you can recall accurately that sort of pitch and that sort of sound.
That would be a 14.
A 14? You seem to think that you've got it pretty good because you can't hear anything, but we will need to see if that is enough.
Okay. Well, I'll just absentmindedly cast it every 60 seconds or so while we're in his office.
Okay? Yep, it's continuously on your mind of, I hope that Streffen doesn't hear this. I hope that Streffen doesn't hear this.
Awesome.
So, Father Petrovich takes you in, leads you upstairs, takes you into his office, and he says, thank you for bringing that little boy in. I hope that we can do enough for him.
I do too. He's been through some pretty terrible stuff recently.
More than any child should have to go through.
So it would appear. Now, you said that you had a other item that you wanted to discuss.
Yes, we're hoping that you might have some information for us. We are looking for, all we know it as is a Moonsilver Temple, probably tied to the Flights of Angels. We believe it's somewhere in the area. I was curious if you knew anything about it.
Father Petrovich goes over to the bookshelf and he says, this isn't something that many people talk about. The Moonsilver Temple has been abandoned for time immemorial. Almost everyone around here knows about Heron Light's Hold, the ancient temple that was lost when the flight of herons initially left the valley. But the Moonsilver Temple is something else entirely. The Moonsilver Temple, according to what I know, and it's not an excessive amount, was one of the first strongholds of the angels during the creation of the world, and is situated at the base of the Auschmouth Peaks. Very appropriate to have one of the first strongholds be where the spawn of all evil is. However, the dusk flight of angels who manned that temple have long since been lost. Now, I am next to certain, and I've never gone myself to take a look because Needle Eye Pass, which goes around the skirt of the Ashmouth Peak, I would suspect, based off of everything that I know, that the Moonsilver Temple is somewhere near there. But I've never actually gone. That is, considering how long ago the Dusk Flight was lost, I would absolutely suspect that the Moonsilver Temple was overrun.
That's really good to know. And at the minute he mentions Needle Eye Pass, Bart's mind immediately goes back to recalling the conversation he had last night with Suri and how she mentioned she thinks that's where her father was going the last time she saw him. And the gears are starting to turn. He's going to say, thank you so much, Father, for this information. I feel like I can trust you. And so the reason we're asking about this is we have reason to believe that there may be something in that temple that can help us combat Lord Mauer and his influence on the valley.
You mean to go up against him?
We do. He has taken someone from a friend of ours that we would like to retrieve, and he has in his possessions some artifacts that we require.
You might want to talk to Rictavio.
Rictavio.
Rictavio, he's been in town for a few months, and he's been wanting to take one to Streffenmauer, but has not been able to my knowledge. You might be able to find him at his wagon, which is down near the Aresk stockyard, or at the Blue Water Inn.
That's good to know. We might have to seek him out. Do you know if he has any further knowledge about the Moonsilver Temple by chance?
He has not asked about that in particular.
Okay.
He's more been trying to recruit allies.
Okay, good to know.
How long has he lived in this area?
Only a couple of months. And to be perfectly honest, I'm not certain that that's his actual name.
Could you do me a favor?
Yes.
Do not mention to him that we spoke to you,
Why is that?
just in case. Lord Mauer stayed in power for a long time by not trusting anybody. Makes sense for him to send spies to various outlying towns to try to recruit against him. Be a really easy way to draw them out so that he could cut off the infection before it spread.
That is so smart. I didn't even think about that.
It's a basic military tactic.
I highly doubt that Rictavio would do such a thing. He holds himself similar to these inquisitors.
Never hurts to be cautious in these parts.
Either way,
I can absolutely appreciate. But yes, I will refrain from engaging with him.
appreciate it.
All right, thank you, Father. We really appreciate all the help, both for us and for Tim.
And if you do happen to find the bones of St. Andrew, would you be willing to bring those back?
Absolutely. Is there any sort of distinguishing anything about them that will let us know that they are specifically the bones you're looking for as opposed to just other remains?
We see a lot of bones.
Well, there's only a very limited number of people who know of the bones. I only mentioned it to Yeska, my altar boy, recently. He was having such a hard time after the Inquisitors came in. And I asked him after they were stolen about a week ago if he had told anyone, and he only would nod and not tell me whom he told. But I have my suspicions. There's another young lad local to town who I've been trying to help. He's Milivoj.
How old is he? Like you said, about Yeska's age?
About Yeska's age, mid-teens. Milivoj he's alone currently, but he has been helping out with the graveyard and helping out at the the coffin maker store.
So he is an orphan.
Yes.
That's too bad. They're harder to scare.
Well, and that's one of the reasons as to why Father Petrovich has not acted on his suspicion, because of Milivoj's temperamentalness.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. We'll see if we can't find some bones. If we bring you back like a random set of bones, are you going to know?
Yes, I will. There's a specific holiness to the relic that is palpable if you look for it correctly.
Good to know.
Gotcha.
Might help us distinguish them.
Or not.
Or not. We'll see. Thank you very much, Father. We will get out of your hair now, and we really appreciate all the help.
Absolutely. And if there's anything else that I can do for you, with whatever limited knowledge I have, I will help.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Just keep an eye on Tiny Tim for us.
I can absolutely do that.
And we'll head out.
Okay. With that, where are you two going to go?
I imagine back out of town to reunite with the others.
Yeah, let's do a recap, yeah.
Let's switch over to Leven and Suri. So the two of you go across the southern side of town over to the Bitterheart Witches. And Suri, this is the same exact sort of route that Annabelle took you on.
Okay.
And so it's very familiar. And you go into the Bitterheart camp, and once again, everyone recognizes you. And they're like, hey, it's Anna's friend. Suri, remember?
Yes, I remember. This is my friend Leven. She's friendly. She's not from Innistrad.
We will make no further comment of it. Now, come, sit, share a fire. Any friend of Suri's is a friend of ours.
She'll just wordlessly sit.
Yeah, Suri will sit right next to Leven by the fire so she doesn't feel too out of place.
It's very kind of Suri.
Now, one of the interesting pieces about this camp is it seems far more permanent than the one that Grandma Eva was in. You have the circle of wagons that's around the fire, but you also have these almost like houses dug into the hill that they're on. And you can tell that this is kind of a central hub that the Bitterhearts come to go from. This is like a more permanent residence.
Yeah, I remember like they're like almost little hobbit houses, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, enchanting. Love it.
And something curious happens as you are sitting by the fire. There is one person who comes up, and their appearance briefly alters, but they go back into a human guise. But you swear for a moment that the incisors were far sharper than they should have been.
Who saw that?
What are your passive perceptions?
Dang, I don't know if Suri would have even been paying attention. Well, her passive wisdom is 15, but she's so trusting of these people. I don't know if she would even expect that.
Levin's is 14. Is that something you would let me roll for?
Yeah, I would let you roll.
Okay. Because I will say, Levin is laser all the time. Just, it's a critical one.
So both of you get this glimmer, and Levin, you look very intensely, and the human just is like, something in my teeth, and you're like, I am tired, I am stressed, and trying to get all of this stuff put together, it's just too much. Something is playing at me.
Oh, that makes me so angry. Oh,
You chose to roll for it too.
I shouldn't have. Oh,
What would
I'm
your
kicking
passive have
myself. It's 14. Like, it's decent. Yeah. No, that's what happens. She's like, whatever. I didn't actually see it.
Basically.
I imagine that, like, right as she goes to look, Annabelle, like, plops down on the bench next to her and she, like, says hi or something, just super cheery, and, like, completely catches Levin off guard.
Yeah, we'll have it be Annabelle. Hey there, Green Gills.
Oh, you shouldn't call people that.
I heard her. She said that it wasn't mean.
Hello, small weakling.
I am not a weakling. I can do this. And she holds up her hand, and a few little, like, sparks fly out.
Interesting.
That's very good. I can see you've been practicing.
Here, let me show you what I can do. And Levin's just going to kind of tap the earth with her foot and cast Mold Earth. And what we're going to do, I can cause shapes, colors, or both to appear on the dirt or stone, spelling out words, creating images, or shaping patterns. She'll tap the earth with her foot, and these intricate, very organic-looking patterns appear within a 5-foot cube, and they're very intricate and flashy.
Can you teach me?
Probably not.
I don't like her anymore. She's not going to teach me.
Maybe you shouldn't have called her Green Gills.
It's not an offense. They are green. I can't teach you because I don't think it's something that can really be taught.
So you're saying that you can simply just do it?
Yes.
That is so cool.
Yeah, you know how a dragon can breathe fire, Annabelle?
Yes?
Some magic is kind of like that. It's not really cast like the way we do. It's just natural for people.
Well, now that Grandma Eva and I are here, we can study more, right? And you recognize that, yeah, the Bitterhearts, they followed, not very close, but their camp is here.
I don't think we can stay for too long. we need to meet back with the rest of our group in a little while, but I'll be sure to teach you all I know when I get back, okay?
I will eagerly await. But I will be studying with Grandma Eva too.
Yeah, she knows as much as I do, if not more.
Yes, Grandma Eva is very smart. Okay, well, I'll let you continue eating. And she hops off again on whatever else she's going to go and do.
She's a very interesting child.
Yes, I have high hopes for her. She's very ambitious.
That she is.
So, other than getting in and getting established, what else are the two of you going to do?
Were we going to gather information as well, or are we just straight chilling
We were initially looking for info on the
on the Moonsilver Temple?
yeah.
Okay. I imagined that we would try asking around about that then.
I don't like the fact that there's a disguised vampire that but neither of us are really aware about.
I don't want to talk about it. Okay. Could Levin just kind of passively try to avoid the person? She's not sure what she saw, but knowing Levin being in Levin's head, she would still distrust the person enough to avoid them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay,
They gave you the bad vibe.
exactly.
Yeah, they failed the vibe check.
That's right.
So yeah, up in the central tent of the camp is where you've had kind of this meal, this kind of gathering together. And do the two of you want to go to kind of the head of the camp?
Yeah, that seems like a good idea to me.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, go into them, and they're like, "Yes, sir." And Levin, was it?
Yes. Levin.
Yes. What can we do for you?
There's a matter I'd like to discuss with you, but I think it's better if it's done privately.
I think we can take care of that. He takes you to his wagon and takes you in. His wife is there, and he says, "Let us be for a moment." So, unless we want to go to one of the hovels, this will be as private as we get.
This seems quite good there.
Can I cast silence? Like, is there only one entrance and exit?
Yes.
So I can't optimize this like I would like, but if Levin could cast silence basically, so the space up to the door is cut off. It won't obviously be able to surround the whole thing, but it'll prevent casual passerbys from like walking up and listening in.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, I would like to do that then.
Okay. So, what can I help you with?
We're searching for the Moonsilver Temple. You wouldn't happen to know its whereabouts or what might be there?
Moonsilver, that sounds like one of the Abyssinian things. I don't know anything of it. I know that there's an old angelic ruin nearby.
Okay. That's helpful. Do you know if is there anything there, or is it just pretty much abandoned and collapsed?
Probably just abandoned and collapsed, based off of what I know. I tend to stick around here, keep the camp a little bit more orderly.
How nearby is it?
Oh, a few miles. Easily a day, less than a day's journey, I would guess. But it is a little bit off the beaten path. Then there is the old ruined town, just south of here.
A town. Do you know what the name of the town is?
Not off the top of my head, but I could easily ask around.
I don't know that either of these things fit the description of what we're looking for, but it's information nonetheless.
Yes. How about the camp in general? Has everything been in order? I trust you've been doing a fine job, but you never know with Innistrad.
We've been keeping order as well as we can. Nothing too serious. Why do you ask?
We can never be too careful, and I just worry for Annabelle's safety.
She is perfectly safe.
What qualifies as normal occurrences that don't cause alarm?
Well, there's every once in a while where Streffenmauer attempts to make an appearance, but we have a sufficient protection against that.
Himself?
More often his cronies, band of werewolves from Yesterhill.
That's frustrating. Streffen's reach on this land is...
Quite far, yes. However, there are certain alliances that we have made that are beneficial. But I say too much.
Yes, we really appreciate the information you've given us. We were mainly looking for the whereabouts of the Moonsilver Temple, but we'll reconvene with our group and see what they know.
Absolutely. Do they plan on coming here, or do you have a different place you are planning on rejoining them?
I would suspect that we had designated this as our meetup area, right?
That would have been my That's
Yeah.
my guess.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay. We will be meeting them here.
Excellent. We'll be certain to have a space by the fire.
Thank you for your hospitality. It's much appreciated.
About an hour and a half beyond that goes by. Was there anything else that the B team wanted to do?
No, I think we're just gonna head straight out, because with the Inquisition in town and everything that's been going on, Bart isn't really comfortable discussing anything here, and he doesn't feel the need to seek out that Rick guy yet until the party's had a chance to talk. And
Okay.
What about Milovoj?
I don't think Bart is super interested in that line of
Okay.
thought quite yet, because he doesn't really see a connection between what we're trying to accomplish and that boy. And what we're trying to do is important enough that it takes precedent over anything else right now.
Balfour, just as he understands, like they're having this conversation, he has understanding Bart's point of view, but just while they're on their way out, he's just kind of gonna keep an eye out for the description that Rectavio gave us of Milovoj. Or not Rectavio, Petrovich, Lucian. Sorry, not Rectavio. Yeah, it's the guy we're going to find. But yeah, I'm just going to keep an eye out. If I see the coffin maker's store, see if I see any young, unkempt boy running around that area. Just in
Okay.
passing, not actually searching. More of like a thought that Balfour can't get out of his head because he knows he's an orphan.
So, the two of you come back out, and you can see just a bit outside of town, off the road, you can see the smoke line going up that probably is where the Bitterheart camp is. You make your way towards the small hill with the hovels and the carts and the big old, almost circus-sized tent on the top, and meet up with Leven and Suri,
All right.
So everybody sitting around the fire.
basically.
Not comfortably, but sitting.
We'll go up to Leven and Suri, and well, we had a the word escapes me.
Interesting.
Interesting's a good word. Beneficial is another word I could think of. It was a good trip. How about you guys? Did you find out anything?
Essentially nothing, but at least the Bitterhearts are keeping well.
That's good. Just out of curiosity, Jens, is the gentleman from earlier anywhere nearby?
What are your guys' passive perceptions?
Pretty high, I'm pretty sure.
Pretty low, I'm pretty sure.
His passive perception?
Yes.
17.
Ooh.
I got a 20 passive insight.
Balfour's is a 14.
Bart, at a couple of points, you noticed some different individuals, more than one, in the camp. That there are little flashes of magic.
Okay. Once I notice that, I'm going to discreetly try and focus in to see if I can see through it. See if I can pick up on what the magic is doing.
Go ahead, roll me a Arcana check and a Perception check.
So the perception, that's 11. The Arcana is 12.
Okay. So after getting that first glance, it's a little bit easier to spot what you're looking for. And considering these seem to be alter self spells.
Okay. I may like there was 2 points earlier. Is Madame Ava at this camp or no?
Yes, they
Yes.
have come into this camp. You can see that beyond the ring of Bitterheart carts that are up on the top, there's another outer ring that's
Okay.
beyond the hill.
Seeing this and being as on edge and paranoid as the party is after everything going on, Bartholomew's gonna put a hand on Balfour's shoulder and say to the group, like, excuse me for just a minute, and he's gonna move away from the group and to try and go speak to Madame Ava real quick.
Balfour's gonna kind of stalk behind him a little bit, though. he's curious.
How close do you want to get, and are you trying to be stealthy about it?
No, just walking like 15 feet behind him, just following. Lost puppy dog.
So
So, trying to get to Grandma Ava, to Madame Ava, she's actually inside of one of the hovels, and there are a couple of more beefy looking Bitterhearts.
okay, I will stop at the more beefy Bitterhearts, and I'm gonna be like, excuse me, is it all right if I speak with Madame Ava very briefly? I just have a question for her.
She is currently in an important meeting. You can wait.
Will it be over soon? I'm perfectly willing to wait. I'm curious how long I'll be waiting.
It could be short, it could be long. We don't know.
Okay.
At this point, Balfour's gonna walk up behind Bart.
Oh no.
Hey, guys. What you doing? You gonna listen? What's going on?
It's okay, Balfour. She's in a meeting with someone right now. I don't want
to... We have something to tell her about, right?
It's not that
No,
important.
you
it's
had
more
a question for her, right? And
yes,
these guys
yes,
were
I
giving you
do.
a hard
And
time?
Balfour, it's fine. I'm gonna like usher Balfour away.
Just behind Balfour's back, his axe kind of unfolds and it just kind of pops up over his head. He's got like one hand on the mechanism, just like, oh, you guys were giving my friend a hard time.
Bart's just gonna look back at them and be like, I'm sorry. It's okay.
I want you to roll an intimidation check.
Yes, please.
All I can imagine is like a line for a nightclub.
It's a 16. It's not bad.
And there's 3 of them. The 2 of them look at each other, look at their buddy. Go let her know. And the third guard goes in, comes back out. She will wrap this up as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you very much. We can wait.
And we're just gonna wait right there. Balfour's not moving. Hand on Bart's shoulder. Just gonna stare at him. Well, look up at him probably, but still. My axe is at least as tall as they are now, so.
Within about 5 minutes, Madame Ava, hunched over, comes back out. Is there something I can help you with?
You have great bodyguards, first off. Not great receptionists.
They are family. But
That's
yes,
good.
I hope they do their job.
Yes. Miss Ava, I'm a stranger to your people and your ways, but I'm just curious. Is there any reason anyone here would be hiding who they are?
You should come inside.
Okay. And he'll follow her.
And
Balfour
the
follows.
guards, they don't even try and stop Bafuur.
Balfour's axe refolds as he walks past him.
Madame Ava, though, does say, I ask that you show patience and restraint. They are our guests just as much as you.
Referring to the bodyguards or
To the people who are inside, and you can see as you go inside a vampire.
Oh really?
is it one that we recognize or is
No.
it a different one?
No, it is a completely different.
Good. I wasn't ready for that again tonight.
It's a good thing she gave us a warning.
She leads you in and says, I'm sorry, I did not tell them. And this fellow looks at you and says, so, you found out that the Duskin line lives.
I will be 100% honest with you, sir. I have no idea what that is. I just know that there's some people out there whose magic is a bit weak and was seen through, and it concerned me.
Those are my family. and we have been hunted for centuries by the stronger family lines of vampires here on Innistrad.
Okay.
It is only through the generosity of the Bitterheart witches that our family persists. In turn, we help provide them with further protection against some of the larger threats in the area.
Insight check.
Go ahead.
21.
He is fully above board with this.
Okay. This confuses Bart. He is conflicted.
Balfour's impressed. That's a very intelligent alliance.
Out of character, didn't you guys hear something about dusk something or other from...
The Dusk Flight of Angels.
Mm-hmm. And this is the dusk line of vampires. But there's also
Any-
like 20 dusk cards in the Innistrad set.
Oh, I was gonna
So-
say coincidence. I think not, but maybe it is.
As a player, knowing what I do about the Dusk Flight, it is not too far of a stretch to believe that these two things are connected.
That's fair.
That's all I had to
Okay.
add.
Bart's going to look between the man and Madame Eva and Balfour for a minute. He's going to say, so, if what you say is true, I imagine you hold no love for the Mauer estate.
Yes, that is true.
Would you kill him if you had the chance?
What hope is there of that?
Would you try? Are you willing to die trying?
You see, there's a difficulty to that, though.
Well, of course there is. He's a centuries-old vampire. He'll most likely die before we get close, but are you willing to try?
Not only that, but also to gather the pieces required to kill him. That would mean going into the family's ancient holdings at the Moonsilver Temple.
And
Bart's going to glance at Madame Eva and then back at the man.
It appears that things are lining up for you.
lining up for all of us, possibly. Again, you never answered my question. Would you be willing to die, kill Streffenmauer?
And like I said, to do so is not a simple task. But to be willing to die would also mean willing to walk through the fire.
And are you willing? Burned a little?
I've had my fair share of burns. What's a few more?
Then we can be friends. Balfour sits down and offers him a piece of bacon.
I prefer my meat a little bit more raw, if you understand my meaning.
That's fair.
Yes, Emma?
Sorry, I'm thinking really hard, obviously. What was said about family's ancient holdings? Was that in reference to the Moonsilver Temple?
He's saying that the Mauer estate's family holdings is in the Moonsilver Temple.
No, the Duskin line.
Oh, the Duskin line.
Which holds a piece of something that may or may not kill Streffenmauer. So he's confirming that the suspicions that we've thought about this vault is true, that there's something there that could help kill him. That's good to know.
That is very good to know. I didn't make that connection. That's okay. That changes a lot.
Balfour's gonna grab Nutty out of his beard and just whisper to him, just say, hey, go get the other guys. Bring them over here.
And while he's doing that, Bart's going to turn to Madame Eva and say, would it be quite all right if the rest of our party joins us?
Considering the portents that were given, I think that is perfectly appropriate. And Nutty, you can see, is now kind of pawing at the door. And Madame Eva opens it, and Nutty just bolts out. And she goes to the door, says something to one of the guards, and one of them goes up. And within a few minutes, Suri and Leven are brought in, and Nutty is currently not to be found. But you hear small scratches at the door.
Bart will have stepped outside the door with the other guards, so as Leven and Suri approached, he could basically give them the same warning Madame Eva gave us, like, it's okay, we're trusting this guy, before they come inside.
Okay.
And Balfour will make sure that Nutty makes it inside.
So, everyone brought together, including Nutty.
Bart will recap very briefly what we had discussed before they showed up, so that they're on the same page.
Including the fact about the Duskin line having the possible piece of something.
Leven, she would ask, why are your family holdings within a holy temple?
The Duskin line didn't fall in too favorably with the original thought process of Edgar Markov. Edgar was arrogant and wanted to basically use the populace of Innistrad as fodder, as feed for his family and those like him. The Duskin line originally was one of the 12 families that were brought in. We did so with a completely different purpose in mind. We followed one of the ancient flights, one that's been since lost to time.
The Flight of Dusk.
Yes, and that's how we got our name. Now, in the time since, the bloodline has diluted severely. I myself don't actually hold the Duskin name. My last name is Velikov. However, I am married into the bloodline. I am no lover of Mauer Estate or of any of the greater names of vampires here. But my sister ended up falling to Streffen Mauer's whims early on. So I have a particular hatred of him.
Trust me, so do we.
In that we can agree then. So, I know of where the ancient Duskan holdings are, and I can take you to the Moonsilver Temple. However, I don't know what sort of things are there, and I don't know if it would be safe for one such as me, as the original Duskans that were part of the temple and had that as part of their holdings were human. This was before the time of the vampires.
Okay. Simply knowing where the temple is and being able to get to it is more than we honestly hoped to accomplish by the end of today. So knowing that you can at least show us the way there is huge for our efforts.
Well, I'm glad to be of at least some service.
Bart's going to turn to Madame Ava and he's going to say, is there any chance you could give us more clarity regarding the information that you provided us? We know the treasure in the mill that you referred to, we were able to find that.
Truly.
I'm curious if there's more, like how many items should we be looking for? So we have that one. I know you mentioned a weapon.
If I recall, there were 3.
Well, Mr. Velikov, I believe that today is the formation of a very powerful alliance. At least I hope so. I look forward to working with you further.
Shall we leave immediately?
Bart will look at his companions. I'm ready.
Why not?
And we'll end off there, this time on Fireside Dice.
Thank you all so much for joining us in this episode of Fireside Dice. This show is produced by Realms of Roleplaying. Intro and outro music was created by Alexander Nakarada of Serpent Sound Studios, and all other sound effects and music were created by Monument Studios. We'll see you all in the next episode.
Now, what did you call it, Jens? The Dusk?
The Duskin line.
Duskin.
Dusken.
Oh, Duskin.
Duskin Donuts.
Oh my goodness.
They would make a killing.
Only jelly filled.
Raspberry specifically.
Oh, they're to die for, trust me.
Oh no.
Duskin Donuts, that's pretty dang good.
That was clever.
Thank you. I'll be here next month.